What up, folks? T-Biz here, and you usually don't do Build-A-Figures or waves like this, especially with like Marvel Legends. I really don't do that because not all the Legends are all that great all the time, and not all the Build-A-Figures are sometimes cool, sometimes they're not, sometimes they aren't. But this is the Batman Last Night on Earth set, and yeah, there's some cool figures. We've got Scarecrow, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Omega, and all together, all four boxes build a Bane. So let's go ahead and rip in and do this. And here it is, folks, the whole wave. This is pretty cool, man. One thing I gotta hand it to Todd McFarlane is that, and Todd Toys and everybody, all the sculptors, everybody that works there, everybody, design team, everybody, that they've been coming out with some awesome scales of figures from like Devastator to the Merciless to Robin Crow to even Scarecrow here. Just there's been so many different scales of figures and just so many cool different styles, and they're all unique. And here's the whole wave, folks. This is pretty cool, man. And one thing I gotta say is that at McFarlane Toys, man, they've been really putting out a bunch of different awesome scales and different cool stuff. And just as far as like the Build-A-Figures, I haven't got the Merciless wave. I wouldn't mind getting it, but it's pretty cool. And I have reviewed Devastator, even the Spawn stuff he's been doing, and some of the video game stuff, like the guy from Doom and The Witcher and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. And just a lot of really just awesome, man. But yeah, this is a cool wave. This is a cool Build-A-Figure. The comic is actually absolutely twisted. I actually read the whole graphic novel on Comixology or DC Comics Online, and yeah, it was a pretty crazy read. I've started reading Batman probably around 89 and 90, and like kind of right before the Michael Keaton movie broke, or it might have been before, right before it or after, I can't remember. Sometime in between that, between 88, 89, 90, and that was a totally different Batman. Still dark, still doom and gloom, but not this crazy and off the wall as far as like Last Night on Earth and then dark metals and death metal, that all that stuff. It's crazy, man. Some really different stories and just a really different new crazy take on Batman. That's just kind of fresh, I think, and pretty out there, and especially fits for the dark times that we live in these days. But anyways, yeah, we need to start checking out these figures. First off is Omega. Here's his card. Here's a little brief backstory about him. Batman Last Night on Earth, number 3, 2020. Real name Bruce Wayne, 6 feet 2 inches, weight 210 pounds. In a dystopian future after the fall of the heroes, a new evil rose in Gotham City, calling himself Omega. Empowered with the anti-life equation, he reigns supreme over the entire East Coast. Now Omega is rumored to have gained the means to control the mind of every living being on Earth, and it's up to Batman, Wonder Woman, and a band of new heroes to defeat the worst villain ever known and free the world. Crazy. But yeah, here's Omega. So the whole time I was reading this, because I haven't even opened up the figure yet, wanted to read the book before I delved into the figures. I didn't know who Omega was because they kept saying, "Oh, it's somebody it's close to you," and they kept telling Bruce Wayne that, or Batman that. And they're also, it's alternate Batman. So you have different Batmans and different multiverses. But yeah, this is Bruce Wayne that got beat down from the fall of the heroes. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man. This is really, I like the fact that he has butterfly joints. I think that's awesome. It actually comes with fists, 2 extra fists too that you can put on. And once again, just the everything, man. The joints, the technology of the joints they use and all that stuff just really gives the figure great posability. You got toe hinges, which I don't mind. I'm sure some people gripe and complain about that, but I really don't mind that at all. And just makes for some dynamic just posing and just display. Just, oh man, it's just, they look really awesome on a shelf, especially if you have them on a decent shelf and you get some light behind them or anything, or even in the dark. They just make an awesome, just menacing, brooding silhouette of characters, which is really cool. And next up we have Wonder Woman. This is a really cool Wonder Woman. When I first saw her, like in some of like the other toy sites and stuff, I was like, oh man, This looks really cool. She's got a mohawk. It's like right up my alley. So Batman Last Night on Earth, number 1. DC Comics 2019. Diana Prince, 6 feet, 165 pounds. The world has been destroyed. The superheroes lost. And a new evil by the name of Omega has taken over what's left. Now, 20 years in the future, Wonder Woman leads a faction of heroes and survivors living underground known as the New Amazons. Hiding from the world above in order to stay alive, Diana and her band of warriors must choose between retreating deeper beneath the Earth's surface or fighting for a better tomorrow. Yeah, this is a really, really excellent figure. I think it's a better deal than going and buying like an SH Figure Arts Wonder Woman or anything like that, because first of all, it's a lot cheaper, and second of all, she just looks awesome. I like the shading they did that kind of gave her that, you know, when you shave your head, you get you still have that little fuzz there. You actually have that there, so that's pretty cool. And just the body is well sculpted. Just everything. Even if you look back at her butt, that's a decent sculpt. Just all around body. Cape is awesome. Really good detail, like on that rip right there. Just awesome, man. And once again, she's got those heels, but she doesn't have like the hooker heels, which is cool. And she has a toe hinge, which I don't mind. I think that could be useful for certain types of posing. But once again, you've got like a lot of this day and age, a lot of collectors just like to bitch and moan, which I think is, I don't know, waste of time. But other than that, very cool. She also has a sheath too. Whoop. And I guess this pegs out too. I'm not sure, but I don't want to mess with it. But yeah, I didn't know this did. So that's actually cool that he makes this knife that doesn't come out. You can able to peg it back in and out, which is awesome. Whoop. Anyways, like I was saying, really cool figure. And next up we have, I believe, is Scarecrow. And here's a look at the collector card with him on top of Bane. And yeah, here we go. Batman Last Night on Earth, number 2. Let's see. Jonathan Crane, height 2 feet 9 inches, weight 70 pounds. 20 years in the future, Gotham City is a dystopian landscape ruled by a mysterious new villain calling himself Omega. Among his lackeys is Scarecrow, aka Dr. Jonathan Crane. The former Gotham University professor turned supervillain has now become an even more twisted, nightmarish version of himself, riding on the back of Bane and brandishing long, feared, toxin-filled syringes as fingers. Scarecrow dispenses terror as he hunts down the Dark Knight. Yeah, this is a really neat figure. Especially reminds me of some of the old, wackier Spawn characters I used to do back in the day. And it also reminds me of I think there was the Dark Souls or some of those crazy, Tortured Souls. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Very, very cool. And what I noticed too is this actually pops out, this little peg in the guts right there. And you can peg them right on the back, which I'll show you in a little bit. And yeah, this thing's cool, man. The syringes are a little bit, not gummy, but they're a little bit, got a lot of play to them, but it's whatever. You can heat them up and probably the good blow dry or something, or warm water or boiling water, and get them to bend the way you want them. But this figure's got some pretty decent articulation. It's a half a figure, but like my buddy Overlord said, at least it's a decent half a figure. Got some articulation at the end of the spinal column right there. Got this weird little apparatus I guess he breathes out of. And I believe you can just easily pop open his little breathing bubble. And there's his face. Like a cover of a death metal album or something. And there's a hole in the back of his head. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh, and I guess, yeah, that kind of pegs into there. His breathing bubble, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but yeah, we'll get that back on. And actually, we'll go ahead and pop this guy on back of Bane. It's kind of neat, too, that he also has this really, and it's pretty dark, too, that he has this noose right here, which is pretty gnarly. And I'm surprised that, I don't even want to say it, because we live in this day and age now that everybody is a soccer mom, and everybody wants to cancel stuff, and everybody actually, it seems like a lot of people think it's really cool, and I don't think it is. I think it's really not cool, cancel culture, and I think everybody's way too sensitive, and everybody's way too PC, and yeah, it's just really not cool. And what's not also not cool is trying to get this to peg in his back. But there we go. Yeah, you gotta get in there. Yeah, he can ride on his back, so that's pretty cool. That is pretty nifty-rooney, if you ask me. Let's bend his arms like so. Yeah, this is the stuff of nightmares for sure. That's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts, man. That is nuts. That is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But we'll get into Bane in a little bit. Next up, we're going to talk about this guy right here. Good old Batman, Bruce Wayne. This is a very interesting figure and a very interesting rendition of Bruce Wayne himself. Here's Batman. Okay, Batman List 900 number 1, 2019. See, Bruce Wayne, height 6 feet 2 inches, weight 210. I'm way too heavy. Anyways, in a dystopian future, Bruce Wayne wakes up in Arkham Asylum. He still has his youth, but he was never Batman. Bruce dons his Batcowl, breaks out of the asylum, and accompanied by the Joker's animated severed head, begins a surreal journey to solve the mystery of his past and to find out who's responsible for destroying the world, encountering both friends and enemies along the way. The Dark Knight's quest through the devastated landscape may prove to be his last adventure ever. Yeah, it's true, and it's crazy, because who would have thunk it that Batman, or this version of Batman this whole time was crazy and basically fighting everybody, and there was really nobody to fight, supposedly. I don't know. It's just nuts. It's really nuts. He was in an insane asylum, and I guess everything was all in his head. And this version of Batman, I guess, spoiler alert, but I guess killed his parents. It wasn't Joker. And then later in this comic, he's in a desert, or just like in this alternate reality or something. It's really weird. It's really bizarre, kind of trippy, that he's in this desert, and he finds this Joker in a jar hanging by this pole out in the desert, and he accompanies him through his trip, and basically just joins him on the quest and the battle. And it's pretty neat and actually pretty funny and really, really crazy, because in the comic he breaks out of the asylum, or attempts to break out of the asylum, and he steals a billy club from a cop and boots from another cop, and just basically gets enough gear to almost get out of there until he runs into Alfred again, and they sort some stuff out. And I guess this helmet was actually, the cowl that he has and he's wearing here was like some kind of helmet that was a shock restraint helmet or something like that. And here's Joker in the jar, which this is probably one of the best things about the comic, is that you have the good old Joker, and he brings a lot of comedy relief in a really dark comic. And I love how they did the red dust from the desert for the paint apps on this figure. Very, very cool. And once again, you've got the crazy straps for his straight jacket, but then again, he has like his Batman utility belt. So it's really crazy, and a little piece of little hole to insert or loop for his billy club that he's going to use on his trip. But later, he becomes changes suits, and he's more like the Batman you've seen in the Merciless Wave, the Capullo Batman, which is awesome. And yeah, this is just a nutty wave. And last but not least is Bane. You got to put this guy together, arms, legs, and everything. It's a little tricky, but if you use a little elbow grease and raw power, you can get him in there. I love the head sculpt. This is pretty much Scream's McFarlane design, and Capullo, because Capullo drew him. But you know, McFarlane Toys, and yeah, just producing or bringing Capullo's art to life, you know. And Snyder's writing to life, which is cool. Man, yeah, this is rad. The articulation's kind of not like too insane. Like, once again, you're not going to get some crazy Pizza Spidey or Omega action out of him, but he does what he needs to do. Got a hinge on the hands and stuff like that, so it's not bad. Got all kinds of swivels and stuff. Leg articulation, so. But this thing is a hulking figure. And if you're ever invaded or whatever in your home and you needed to grab a quick weapon or whatever, you could use this to club the hell out of somebody. You really could, for sure. And man, it's got some cool shin guards and knee pads. It's all the way around this belt. Just the detail is nice. And, McFarlane does Todd does a Build-A-Figure. This is how he does it. So it's very much worth it. And this is pretty much seeing his legs in Omega's packaging told me, I was like, dude, you be a pretty big weenie if you don't build this whole thing. You don't have to, but if you don't buy the rest of these and build it, you'll be kicking yourself. And I'm glad I did. It's really cool. And I bought the rest of the figures. I bought, like, this one figure is purchased at Target. I know nobody cares, but I like to just put it out there. Target, and then 3 others were actually purchased at GameStop, which GameStop has pretty good deals. And then this Batman was purchased by Sure Thing Toys, which I think they're based in Jersey. And I got a really good deal, and they give you free shipping at retail price, which is awesome. So hit up Sure Thing Toys, look them up. Really, really good stuff. Anyways, that's a look at the Batman Last Night on Earth wave from Todd McFarlane Toys. Stoked. This is awesome. Anyways, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one. All right, later.